we just gonna jump right back into it. I am so sorry. Let me see if I can get some sound. There's like too much going on in here. Hold on a second. Let me check. Because okay, I can hear myself. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Let me put the chat back up. Okay, I can hear myself. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Let me put the chat back up. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, we need too much stuff going on. We hit all the platforms yesterday, and ever since I was able to go live on Kick, Twitch, everywhere, it started to slow down. So I just gotta figure this out. But so hopefully it won't happen again, you guys. So like I said, this case, we're gonna start over from the beginning because it's a good one. So this one is about a Detroit man who deletes his 2 guests that was at his party after they beat his mother up on Facebook. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep this up in the background just for a minute here. So let's get into this.
This is 31-year-old Jakiria Williams and 25-year-old Martisha Payne, 2 Detroit residents whose lives were taken at a pool party after they got involved in a conflict with a man's mother. On the night of August 9, 2025, just before 10 p.m., Detroit police were called to a rental home on the city's east side near 7 Mile Road in the Fleming area after reports of a mass stabbing at a pool party. When officers arrived, they found Jakiria Williams, the host of the gathering, fatally stabbed near the pool. Martisha Payne was also critically wounded and later pronounced dead. 2 additional guests were rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. Just hours earlier, Jakiria had gone live on Facebook, smiling, relaxed, and excited to host a summer night with people he trusted. Martisha, a devoted mother who rarely went out, had allowed herself one night of freedom. But after an altercation happened between Martisha and the 31-year-old Daiwan Hobson's mother, everything spiraled to a deadly stabbing. But before we get to how things get that bad, we have to go back to the very beginning. This is the life and death of Jakiria Williams and Martisha Payne. Jakiria Williams was 31 years old and from Detroit, Michigan, a man whose name carried weight in his circle because he was the one who brought people together. Friends knew him as Jakiri, the guy who hosted, organized, and made sure everyone felt welcome. He wasn't flashy in the way social media influencers are flashy. His presence was quieter but steady. The kind that made people show up because they trusted the space he created. That sense of responsibility didn't come.
All right, you guys, we're gonna do one more mic check. Just one more mic check. Y'all remember? Okay, y'all remember being in the club and the DJ had to say mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's what I gotta do. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go.
Come from nowhere. Jakiria was a father, and that role shaped nearly every decision he made. Those closest to him described him as protective, attentive, and deeply invested in the people he cared about. Even when he was relaxed, there was an underlying awareness to him, watching, checking in, making sure things stayed under control. It wasn't about dominance, it was about order, and order mattered to Jakiria because stability mattered. Work-wise, Jakiria supported himself through consistent, hands-on labor. He wasn't known for chasing status or shortcuts. He valued showing up, earning respect, and being reliable. That mindset translated into how he hosted gatherings. When Jakiria threw a party, it wasn't reckless, it was intentional. He invited people he knew, people he trusted, people he believed would respect the space. And on Saturday, August 9th, 2025, that trust extended to a pool party he was hosting at a rental home on Detroit's east side near 7 Mile Road in the Fleming area. It was meant to be simple: music, drinks, a summer night, friends cooling off by the pool after a long week. Jakiria even went live on Facebook earlier that day, smiling, relaxed, and clearly looking forward to what he expected would be an easy, enjoyable gathering.
Hey, you already know better pull up, man. It's going down. Starting right now.
But what no one watching those videos could see was how fragile the balance actually was. Meanwhile, across town, another life was moving toward that same pool party, without any sense of what the night would become. Martisha Payne was 25 years old, a Detroit native, and a woman whose life revolved around responsibility in a very different way.
You know, it's so sad that we don't know the time nor the date. You know, we go out just to try to have a good time, and the time nor the date. There we go. We still there. Go out to have a good time. You don't even realize you'll never make it home. That's why I stay in my butt house. Only person that's gonna get me is the Amazon guy. That's it. Oh, maybe the DoorDash.
She was a mother to a 6-year-old daughter, a child who depended on her completely. Friends described Martisha as devoted, protective, and deeply connected to her family. Being a mother wasn't something she mentioned in passing. It defined her priorities. That made the night of August 9th unusual for her. Martisha rarely went out, but that evening she allowed herself something small and human: a break. She got dressed, did her nails, and posted on social media about heading to the pool party. To outsiders, it looked like a carefree night, but to those who knew her, it was clear how rare that freedom was. And that contrast mattered. Martisha worked hard, balancing motherhood with everyday survival. She didn't live recklessly. She didn't seek chaos. People described her as warm, expressive, and social, but grounded. The kind of person who laughed easily, but knew when to pull back, which is why no one expected her night to end where it did. By the time Martisha arrived at Jakiria's pool party, the atmosphere still matched the plan. Music played, guests laughed, people recorded short videos, dancing and joking near the pool. The sun hadn't fully set yet, and the mood was light. Two different lives, Jakiria's and Martisha's, had now converged in the same space. And for a while, everything looked exactly the way it was supposed to. But even as the party settled into rhythm, another presence arrived that would quietly shift the energy. Now it's at this point that another name enters the story. Daiwan Hobson was 31 years old, also from Detroit, and he was not a stranger at this gathering. He was there as Jakiria's friend, someone Jakiria trusted enough to invite into his space. In earlier videos from the party, the two men appeared comfortable around each other, talking, smiling, and standing close like people who shared history.
Hey, you already know better pull up, man. It's going down. Starting right now. We ain't been taking shots, just chilling, dog. You know what I'm saying, bro?
But Daiwan carried something into that backyard that night that most guests did not know. Just 1 month earlier, Daiwan had been released from prison after serving more than a year for a violent felony. Court records show he had been convicted of assault by strangulation, a charge involving serious bodily harm. At the time of the pool party, he was on probation, technically prohibited from being in environments involving alcohol. That detail wouldn't become public until later, but its relevance would soon be impossible to ignore. Daiwan didn't arrive alone. He brought his mother. That decision stood out immediately. Pool parties like this were filled with young adults, friends, peers, people in similar stages of life. Seeing a grown man bring...
Why he bring his mama? I probably would have brought my mama too. My mama was cool like that. My mama would have went too. What the heck? So he put his mother in this. Oh, Lord. I got goosebumps. Oh, let me see if I can hear myself. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Oh, we still there. We still. Gotta check, y'all.
His mother into that environment raised eyebrows.
I have people on all the platforms and no one's saying except for Cheeks. What's his name? Yeah. One of my biggest supporters. To say we can't hear you.
Some guests questioned it openly, others brushed it off, assuming there was a reason. But the choice mattered more than anyone realized, because bringing his mother into that space changed how Daiwon interpreted everything that followed. At first, the party moved along without incident. Alcohol flowed, the crowd thickened, music grew louder. As afternoon turned into evening, the backyard became more crowded, with people moving in tighter spaces around the pool. That's when small things started to happen. Bumps, accidental contact, drunken missteps. The kinds of minor frictions that happen at crowded gatherings every weekend and usually end with nothing more than a brief apology. According to multiple accounts, Martisha, who had been drinking, accidentally bumped into Daiwon's mother near the pool. What happens next depends on where you were standing and who you were watching. Some guests say the contact near the pool was nothing more than an accident. The space was crowded, drinks were flowing, people were brushing past each other constantly. According to those witnesses, Martisha, who had been drinking, lost her balance slightly and bumped into Daiwon's mother. There was a brief exchange, irritation, not shouting. Martisha appeared to brush it off and move away, but that moment didn't end there. According to this account, Daiwon stepped in quickly, not to calm things down, but to physically insert himself between them. Witnesses say he pushed Martisha away from his mother, instead of addressing the situation verbally. That single action changed the energy. What had been uncomfortable became confrontational. Voices rose, the surrounding crowd tightened. From that point on, it stopped feeling like a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, others remember the sequence differently. Several guests insist the contact wasn't a one-time accident. They say Martisha had bumped into Daiwon's mother more than once and appeared intoxicated. When Daiwon asked if his mother was okay, the response wasn't apologetic. According to this version, Martisha became defensive, dismissive, and aggressive in tone. Witnesses aligned with this account claim Martisha attempted to swing at Daiwon's mother, missing her, but escalating the situation instantly. People nearby reacted. Some moved closer. Others began shouting. The space around the pool collapsed inward as the argument drew attention. But even among those who believed Daiwon was reacting to a perceived threat, there was agreement on one point. He had options. He could have taken his mother and left. He could have stepped back. He could have disengaged. But he didn't. And then there are guests who say the conflict didn't begin with Martisha at all. According to these witnesses, Daiwon's...
What would you guys have done? I'm getting my mama and I'm getting out of there. And pray that I don't have to somebody in their head before I get to my car. But ain't nobody gonna let me see. Somebody in their head. We got sound, y'all. Mic check. Listen, nobody hit my mama. I'm either gonna be pushing up daisies or clank it to the back. But you're not gonna hit my mama. But I probably would be like, Ma, it was an accident first, I'm not gonna elevate it. Accidents happen. It's a full arena. People are moving, people are drinking. It happens. Don't let it happen twice. Don't let my girls, listen, let me tell you something. Don't let them pretty faces fool you. They hardcore. They don't play about their mama. Trust me when I tell you.
Mother had already been involved in tension earlier in the party, an argument with other women that had nothing to do with Martisha or Jakiria. Emotions were already elevated before Martisha ever entered the space near the pool. From this perspective, the bump was not the beginning. It was a trigger layered on top of an argument already in motion. By the time Daiwon focused on the interaction, the situation was primed to explode. Any contact, intentional or not, was going to set it off. And across all of these accounts, one thing remains consistent. By that point, the disagreement had drawn attention without fully revealing its danger. People nearby sensed something was off, but no one yet believed it would turn violent. The music continued. Phones remained raised. The pool deck stayed crowded. But what investigators would later understand is that this was the last calm moment of the night. Because once Daewon Hobson's attention locked onto the...
They said, last call for alcohol. It's time for everybody to get up out of here. Everybody felt the tension, I promise you. It's like I could tell when I'm in certain situations, you know, and like when I don't go out to the clubs no more. I haven't been, you know what, it's weird. I haven't been out to the club since I met my husband in one. But anyway, I really haven't. But back in the day, you go in there, you know, you're checking the temperature. You're looking around, exits. Okay, that's in, that's out. Okay, there's nothing over here. I'm going to stay to the side. You know, you assess the situation because you can get into some places. Like I used to go to this place called MJQ. It was underground and it was only one way out. And it was like a garage. So you go down into this tunnel and it had like moldy stuff. Yo, let me tell you something, that club was off the chain. That's where I met my husband at. But I stayed by that door because it would get too congested over here. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm gonna be the first one out when it pop off. But I'm always in there. I love a good hood party.
Space around his mother, the situation stopped being social and started becoming personal. Witnesses recall hearing his voice cut through the noise, louder than the music, sharper than the surrounding conversations. His words repeated, not directed at the crowd, but at anyone standing between him and the perceived threat. What had been a shared space fractured into sides, with people instinctively backing away or stepping forward. And that's when the night crossed from tension into violence.
Mama, y'all. No, hold up. Wait a minute. We gotta go back a little bit. That's his mama on the... Oh, God. Let me go back. Oh, my God. Let's say a prayer.
Between him and the perceived threat. What had been a shared space fractured into sides, with people instinctively backing away or stepping forward. And that's when the night crossed from tension into violence.
Oh, my God. Y'all, that would rip my heart out if I had to see my mama like that. Oh, my God. You know, something just snapping in your mind when it's your mother. And when it's your mother and your kids, something just click. You're not even the same person that you were when you walked into that party. Yo, somebody had his mom here. Oh, my God. This is horrible. Why you let your mama go home and Netflix and chill? You bringing her to some darn... He hits...
It's my mama. Where the fuck is her wig at?
Why y'all do her like that? Who is she?
Yo, somebody said, what the F is her wig at? Let me tell you something, there's three. My mama, my daddy, my husband, my kids, and my brother. Oh, and my nieces and my nephews. It's going down. I'm going to jail. Listen, y'all, it's over. Just let me talk to Big Shirley, and me and her gonna work something out so we don't have to be fighting up in here over seniority. You know, me and her, we're gonna become one, and we're just gonna run to prison. That's it. You know, that's it. 3 minutes.
Who are we? Listen, first of all, today's news on Detroit.
On today's news on Detroit East Side. Look at him recording.
I promise I'm
You want to hear something funny? I had a pool party. I think it was maybe a year ago. And a lot of people came that we did not invite. Now, when I tell you it probably was 40 people we did not invite, somebody else invited them. But anyway, so someone in my subdivision came to the party and started acting reckless. Let me tell you something. My daughter was like, all right, let's get this going. Let's get this going. My daughter was like, yo, it's on. It's on. Get up out my house. You know what I mean? I didn't have to do nothing. My girls was like, listen, I got this. This is my oldest one. She's missing a scroodle. She don't play about her mama.
All of a sudden, Daewon pulled out a knife. It wasn't a small pocket blade. Multiple witnesses described it as a larger knife, something that didn't belong at a casual pool party. How long it had been on him remains unclear. What is clear is that once it appeared, the situation changed instantly. There was no warning shot, no threat made aloud that caused people to scatter in time. The first stabbing happened in the middle of the crowd. Chaos followed immediately. People screamed, some ran, others froze. The videos from that moment become shaky and disjointed, hands jerking away as people tried to back up while still filming. And in the middle of that confusion, one person moved toward the danger instead of away from it. Jakiria Williams moved toward the conflict as it erupted. According to his mother and multiple witnesses, he wasn't advancing aggressively. He was trying to stop what was happening. He stepped into the space between Daewon and the others in an attempt to break it up. That decision put him directly in harm's way. Jakiria was stabbed during that intervention. The wound was severe. In the confusion, he managed to move away from the immediate area, collapsing near the pool while others screamed for help. But even after he was wounded, the violence had not fully ended. Martisha Payne was also stabbed during the same outburst. According to witnesses, she did not have time to retreat or protect herself. The moment was fast, disorganized, and terrifying. Within seconds, she was down. 2 additional people were stabbed as well. Their names were not released publicly, but one was transported to the hospital in critical condition, the other with serious injuries. And just as quickly as it began, the attacker disappeared. Daewon Hobson fled the scene on foot. Security footage later showed him leaving the area, running through nearby streets as partygoers scrambled to help the injured. Phones that had been recording the celebration now captured screams, blood, and confusion. Minutes later, the reality of what had happened began to settle in. Jakiria, despite his injuries, reached for his phone. His final social media post appeared shortly afterward, unintelligible, fragmented, typed while his body was failing. It was a final, desperate attempt to communicate before losing consciousness. Emergency calls flooded in. Detroit police received the first report at approximately 9:52 p.m. Officers arrived within minutes to a scene already transformed beyond recognition. The rental property was surrounded by crime scene tape as medical personnel worked urgently among scattered belongings and blood-stained concrete.
Deputy Chief Arnold Williams, ARNOLD-WILLIAMS, Deputy Chief Eastern Operations. At about just before 10 o'clock this evening, we had received a call that there was possibly somebody stabbed. Officers came and they made the location. Upon making the location, we discovered we had several individuals stabbed. So after the preliminary investigation, we had 4 people stabbed. 2 were stabbed fatally and 2 were stabbed non-fatally. Of the 2 that were stabbed non-fatally, 1 is in critical condition and the other one is stable. Everybody was adults. 3 of the victims were in their 30s, 1 was in their 20s. This was basically a pool party that was taking place, and there was an argument that started over a woman who was at the pool party. From that argument, 1 male suspect stabbed 4 of our victims. We do have a person of interest, and we have that person identified. So they're not in custody, but we are looking for them at this time.
But for the 2 of the victims, help came too late. Jakiria Williams was pronounced dead at the scene. Martisha Payne was also pronounced dead shortly afterward. The The remaining 2 victims were transported to nearby hospitals, one in critical condition. As the scene stabilized, investigators were left with one urgent question: where was the suspect? By the morning of August 10, 2025, police publicly identified DeJuan Hobson as the man responsible for the stabbings. They confirmed he had been released from prison just 1 month earlier after serving time for a violent felony involving strangulation. At the time of the party, he was on probation. That revelation shifted the case from a sudden tragedy to something prosecutors would later describe as preventable. And it intensified the urgency. Within days, Detroit police publicly identified Hobson as their suspect and announced a $5,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
So now to a pool party taking a deadly turn in Detroit. Right now, police asking for your help as they desperately search for whomever is behind a quadruple stabbing. 2 people did not survive. This all occurred Saturday night at an Airbnb on Fleming Street near Conant on Detroit's east side. And neighbors say the home had been causing trouble for a while. 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham is learning more about the victims and digging deeper into the investigation. Darren.
Loved ones of the man and woman who died in this weekend's gruesome murders are looking for answers, and they're hoping an arrest will take place soon. Kimberly Williams says her son Jakari hosted a pool party with another person on Saturday. The home on Fleming Street on Detroit's east side was rented for the occasion. That night, an altercation broke out. Videos of the brawl are circulating on social media. Detroit police say it started as an argument over a woman. Investigators say a man ended up stabbing 4 people, including Jakari Williams, who we're told was trying to break up the scuffle. 2 people died, including Jakari and another young lady. His mother tells me he was a good guy, positive, and she believes he was friends with the man who allegedly committed these heinous acts.
They were pretty close. They were pretty close, so we thought, you know, and for that to happen the way it happened, and I'm thinking, well, maybe he accidentally, you know, maybe that's not, it wasn't no accident. It hurt it to the core. I just buried the son 2 years ago.
Coming up on 7 News Detroit at 5 o'clock, hear from the mother of Martisha Payne, the other victim who died in this weekend's tragedy. As for the police investigation, DPD tells me that they are still looking for leads that will lead them to the person of interest. For now, Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
The manhunt unfolded quickly, with investigators tracking tips, surveillance footage, and witness accounts.
First, a pool party ends with a deadly stabbing spree. Now the manhunt is on to find the killer.
Investigators say the person attacked 4 people, killing 2 of them, a man and a woman. This happened near 7 Mile Road and Fleming Street, where neighbors say the house is often used for parties.
Tonight, Shantae Passmore has an exclusive interview with the family of one of the victims, plus what the property owner told her went wrong at the party.
Family identified one of the victims as being Jakari Williams, who actually hosted what's being described as an intimate gathering for close family and friends. Instead, he wound up losing his life after the father reportedly tried to break up a fight. Another neighborhood reeling from another night of violence.
With this being so close to home, you know, that was really scary for me.
Just before 10 p.m. near this home, police say someone stabbed 4 people. At last check, Detroit police reports a man is expected to survive, while another is in critical condition. Meanwhile, a woman in her 20s died. 31-year-old Jakari Williams also killed. In a sit-down with Local 4, his mother, Kimberly Williams, shares how she'll have to bury yet another son.
He was kind. He was kind. He was kind.
Neighbors say this home is known for being a house available for rent to throw parties.
$1 million cash.
It's loud, it's rowdy. They block up the street, they fly down the street. They have no respect for the neighborhood.
Saturday night, their worst fear came true. Past the crime tape, property owner Alvin Taylor takes us inside, claiming Williams hosted the pool party for close family and friends. It reportedly wrapped just moments before the violence erupted out front.
Just unfortunate. They were all together. It was all, you know, it was a family thing.
It was a family thing.
It was a family event. It ain't like it was a bunch of young people running around.
Meanwhile, investigators say they know who they're looking for, and so does the Williams family.
I want them to get caught.
And we're told the alleged Robber is no stranger to the Williams family. As for the home, it has cameras set up all around it. The homeowner is telling us they've handed all of that footage over to investigators for this case. If you know anything, you're asked to call Detroit Police. On the city's east side, I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
You guys, this is why we have to watch our surroundings. We have to make sure, like they said, it was a family gathering. So how would they have known that this would have happened? Leave your mama at home. Leave your mom. My husband be like, no, if I come downstairs and we're going to a party or something and he think I look too good, he's like, no, because I'll put him in a bad situation. You know what I mean? So even though I gotta go looking like a church mom. But I'm saying, be really careful and just think before you leave your homes, you guys. But anyway, I think we got volume. Microphone check 1, 2. What is this? Hold on.
You're asked to call Detroit Police.
I gotta check.
On the city's east side, I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
We made it to the end with sound. That's a huge accomplishment for you, girl. I'm so happy, you guys. But anyway, I'll be back on tomorrow. Probably a little early tomorrow because I'll turn this down. Because I have to work tomorrow. I might go in anyway. But anyway. So yes, you guys, have a blessed night. And I'm about to get deep in them sheets. It's cold. It's so cold. I left New York to be warm. And it's colder here than it is there. But I'm not moving back, y'all. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to Viral Vibes with Jocelyn. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. We have fun here. Well, we can get the sound right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Have a blessed night, everybody. Bye-bye.